What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the WaxMode Automotive Detailing channel. And in today's video, I'm going to be doing a continuation of the testing with the Ethos Graphene Matrix Coating. So I've got 2 coats of this applied to the test panel. Today's video, I'm going to be doing a first wash of the test panel using CarPro Reset as my wash soap. And then I'm going to pull out the Poorboy strip down and do a chemical resistance test. We're going to see how well that this coating holds up after trying to use a dedicated wax and sealant stripper from Poorboy's World. Now, this coating has been applied to the test panel 3 weeks ago, so I wanted to give this an extended amount of time to actually fully cure before I started dumping chemicals down onto the surface. But Ethos has this listed. You want to wait 2 full days before the coating gets wet with any water, and then it will continue to cure for 5 days after that. So a good recommendation is to wait at least a week before your first wash after applying the coating to the surface. And then there are some coatings out there that will take an even extended amount of time to fully cure. So that's why I wanted to give it more of a buffer in this specific test. And so what I am going to do here, I'm going to rinse it down. You guys can see the awesome hydrophobic behavior out of this coating. It's just phenomenal. And I'm not seeing an improvement in the water behavior after this extended amount of curing time. So again, I originally rinsed this down 48 hours after applying the second coat. And it looks like we're getting an equal water behavior. So I think that this achieves its maximum hydrophobic power within that 48-hour time period for sure. Definitely one of the more hydrophobic coatings that I've worked with over the years. I'm loving it. In this clip here, I'm washing the paint using CarPro Reset as my soap. And Reset's a pretty bare bone style of soap. You can definitely use the Ethos ceramic shampoo and the Ethos foam party as your soap with this coating as well. The ceramic shampoo is an SiO2 infused maintenance soap, so it could have properties inside of the soap that might be able to help maintain the hydrophobic performance a little bit better. But I want to see how the coating is holding up by itself without the soap impacting any sort of behavior. So that's why I'm using Reset as my soap for this specific test here. And you guys can see, even after the wash is not going to do anything to this coating. It's going to maintain absolute perfect hydrophobic performance, which is great. And one of the things that I noticed when I wash this coating is the wash mitt with the soap just glides over the top of this coating, and it just feels super slick. And I've noticed that with other hydrophobic types of products as well. Polymer Net Shield from Sonax and Brilliant Shine Detailer, definitely the C-Quartz coating, C-Quartz UK 3.0. These hydrophobic products, when you go and wash them, it's super satisfying to get that super slick feeling surface through the wash mitt. But here's a bit of a walk around of the gloss after the first wash. This definitely looks stunning on the paint. Again, this paint is pretty much always stunning, except for that small section on the nose there that I burned through just from over polishing from doing so many testing. But the gloss looks fantastic with this coating. I don't have anything bad to say about how this coating looks on the paint. But here's Poorboy's World stripped down. So this is my dedicated wax and sealant remover. And definitely something that we can use to test coatings as well. Coatings have different various levels of chemical resistance to them. And so not all of them are going to behave the same exact way. And chemical resistance, I always say it, guys, it's a deadly type of test because there's some products out there, some very durable types of products out there that will fail a chemical resistance test, but still end up being so much more durable, showcasing a much more hydrophobic durability compared to other products that might perform extremely well during a chemical resistance test. So what I'm doing here for Poorboy's World Strip Down, I've lightly misted the area that I'm going to be spraying this product down on the surface. Then I'm going to fully saturate. I'm just going to do the left half of this test panel with strip down for this specific test here. And then I'm going to go over that section of the paint with my regular wash mitt and my regular soap. So again, I'm using CarPro Reset as my soap. For my tests, I like to wring out a little bit of the soapy water from the wash mitt so that I can try and get more cut with strip down when I'm trying to remove fresh protectants for testing purposes. Otherwise, I would just use the wash mitt regularly without needing to wring any of the water or soap out of the mitt itself. And so that's one of the reasons why I like strip down so much. Number one, it's going to be much more effective compared to your standard strip wash style of soap in knocking down even fresher protectants. And number two, you're using this in your wash process itself. You don't have to wash the paint and then use a separate product afterwards. You know, something that I might regularly do is wash the paint and then use something like Clean Strips Prep All as a separate step to go ahead and try and knock down fresher protectants before I begin claying, before I begin polishing. I can go ahead and use Strip Down during the wash process to try and knock down fresh protectants while I wash the paint itself. But even after saying that, I'm still not a huge stripping advocate. I don't think there's a crazy need to be stripping protection specifically, especially if I'm going to be claying the paint and polishing the paint out. And those two steps are definitely going to get the job done as far as removing protection before applying fresh protectants on the surface of the paint. But you can see here, I've thoroughly agitated Strip Down into the left half of this test panel with the coating on top. And just look at how easily this coating strips or sheds the Strip Down off the surface of the paint after trying to agitate it in. This is near perfect chemical resistance with this product here. And again, Strip Down, it can be very effective with a wide variety of different fresher protectants out there. There are still some that can be very resistant against Strip Down in the short term, but this graphene matrix coating has no trouble with this Strip Down application on top of it. And I'm not seeing any weak areas or any inconsistent areas where it's not quite as hydrophobic compared to the right half. This is really good resistance. Now, it's difficult to take these results and then translate this into predicting long-term durability from. I can't really do that with chemical resistance testing. I think it would be more valid for me to say that if my plan is to send my car that I've coated with the graphene matrix coating through a bunch of tunnel washes or a bunch of touchless washes where they're spraying out harsh chemicals and cleaners to try and remove contamination without any sort of agitation, then this coating might be able to hold up to that at a better level compared to other products out there, with it having good chemical resistance against something strong like Strip Down. That could be something that I could say, but I can't say that this coating is going to be crazy durable as far as long-term durability on a daily driver just because it passes a chemical resistance test like that. In this clip, I decided to pull out the Dawn Ultra Platinum Power Wash. And so if you guys haven't seen my last video that I did of Power Wash, I used it up against the Zymol Carbon Carnauba Wax. And it really did an excellent job of knocking down the one product from Dawn that actually did a good job in knocking down a fresh wax from the surface of the paint. This cleans at a much higher level compared to the standard soap inside of the bucket, the Dawn soap inside of the bucket. And so I was surprised to see how well it did against the Zymol Carbon. So I wanted to see just what it could do, if anything, to the Ethos Graphene Matrix coating right here. And pretty thorough wiping in with the microfiber towel with Power Wash here. But you can see right away through the rinse, I mean, this stuff just easily resists this Power Wash as well. And I've set aside the right half of this test hood. I'm going to start testing different toppers with it. Ethos recommends their D-Fi as their designated topper for the Graphene Matrix coating so far. And then I'll probably test out Ceramic Refresh side by side with that. I've had good results with both D-Fi and Ceramic Refresh on top of the Ceramic Wax Pro. And so it'll be interesting to see just how well those two toppers behave with the Graphene Matrix underneath of them. The last product that I decided to test out for this specific video here was the SuperClean Aerosol formula of their degreaser. So this has been a pretty stout cleaner on top of different protectants that I've used it against. And I want to caution you guys again, I know a lot of guys see me using a bunch of different cleaners and degreasers and all-purpose cleaners on top of the paint. And I'm doing this in the testing environment. This is not stuff that I would necessarily recommend for you guys to use on a regular basis on paint. Different cleaners can react differently depending on the type of paint that you're working on. And SuperClean is not usually recommended to be used directly onto paint like this. But again, we're in the testing environment, so I want to see how the graphene matrix coating holds up. And I would say to always follow the manufacturer's guidelines of the chemicals that you're working with. Unless you're crazy like me, you want to experiment a little bit. But you can see through the rinse here, the graphene matrix coating has definitely held up. So it's held up to the Strip Down at full strength. It's held up to the Power Wash and then a direct blast with the SuperClean Aerosol degreaser formula. And maybe a slight hit in hydrophobic performance. Again, this is a heavier degreaser. This is going to want to sit on the surface a little bit. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull out the CarPro Reset, wash the paint down, and then give it a final rinse. All right, so after a quick wash with CarPro Reset, I just want to see how well, if the SuperClean is having any sort of lasting impact on the paint. You can see the coating still, it's definitely held up very well. Very minimal impact even after the strip down, after the power wash, and after the SuperClean here. Chemical resistance testing, this is not the be-all end-all trait of performance. This is not going to be something that's going to be an indication of absolute long-term durability. But it is a statistic that I want to have knowledge of, at least with the chemicals that I'm using with it. And so great first impressions out of this coating, guys. Again, Tim did send me this coating for testing for my personal review and to give you guys my honest feedback. So be aware of that. I'll keep you guys posted for how this is holding up on the daily driver that sits outside in the durability test. But thanks so much for watching, guys. Make sure you stay tuned to the channel for more test videos coming up in the future, more durability updates, more product showcasing. Stay safe, and I'll see you guys all in the next video.